Part 65. Brothers and sisters chatting warmly again. Xuan Huaifeng was sent to Nian's house. When we arrived at Nian's house, when the servant saw that it was the car of the chief of the customs, someone rushed in to report the letter. Xuan Huaifeng just crossed the big threshold. Zhang Mama received the news inside and ran out with a smile on her face and said straight, "Alas, why didn't you give me a letter? The young lady has been talking about it for so many days, and she is looking forward to it. You came to see her, but she just went out in the car today. This is really. Come in and sit down, young master." While dragging Xuan Huaifeng's hand in, she turned her head and called to the doorman, "Sankai, hurry up to Lao Mei Silk and Satin Shop to see if young lady is there. If she is, tell young lady that her brother is coming home. Take it easy. Don't let young lady hurry." Xuan Huaifeng asked, "Sister is out." "Huh? That's not a coincidence. I should have called first," Zhang Mama said. "She said she wanted to buy some good fabrics and sew some clothes for the children. I also said that my young lady would do this kind of thing, but she refused and said she would do it herself." Walking down the corridor, Xuan Huaifeng said, then raised his eyes and glanced at a distance. And there seemed to be a figure sitting in the living room window, so he asked Zhang Mama, "Is there another guest today?" Xuan Huaifeng was puzzled. Zhang Mama said, "Isn't it the one born in the second room?" Xuan Huaifeng asked in surprise, "Is the third brother here?" Zhang Mama snorted again. Zhang Mama and Xuan Huaiyan's biological mother, the second concubine, are two natural camps. First, she is the personal person who serves young lady, and she has always had a self-evident sense of superiority towards the opponent like Feng. Secondly, this Feng who came out of Feng Yucheng has nothing to do with others like the virtues of a woman of praise. The combination of the two is naturally very disdainful. Zhang Mama said, "Babadi came early in the morning, and I don't know what I want to do. Knowing that young lady was not there, I sat down and waited cheekily. I was afraid that the weasel would not be at peace when it came to greeting the chicken." "Young master, don't forget it. How did his mother treat you? The things that Commander Xuan left for you after his death went into the pockets of their mother and son." Xuan Huaifeng said, "What do you do with those old things? No matter how bad she is, and our fellow mother, he must know that my sister is about to give birth, so come and see, this is also a good idea." As he said, he thought about what happened last night. It was a mess last night. As soon as the commander surnamed Zan appeared, Bai Xuelan, who was jealous, became anxious, and simply made a move. In fact, if you think about it carefully, Commander Zan didn't do anything outrageous, so why make it so embarrassing? The post to the third brother was posted by himself. It is very unreasonable to invite people, but let their bosses feel wronged. Xuan Huaifeng thought about it, and said to Zhang Mama, "I will go to the living room to chat with him, and sit and wait for my sister. Come and get some food." Zhang Mama said, "What is there to talk to with that kind of person? What? I see that between his eyebrows, he is more serious than before, and he carefully spoiled you." "Young master." Xuan Huaifeng laughed, "Can't I talk to my brother?" Zhang Mama sighed and said, "I'm just an old mother, dare to tell you what's okay?" "Young master, go ahead. I'll set up some delicious food, but it's just for you, not for others." Xuan Huaifeng smiled and hugged her. "Zhang Mama has always been partial to me." Zhang Mama was hugged affectionately by him, and her tensed old face couldn't help laughing. Xuan Huaifeng walked into the living room. Xuan Huaiyan was waiting impatiently, and when he turned to see him coming in, he was stunned for a moment, then called out in a hoarse voice, "Brother." Xuan Huaifeng sat on the chair opposite him and asked, "Are you coming to see my sister?" Xuan Huaifeng nodded and frowned. Why is my sister not coming back now? Xuan Huaifeng said. Wait, she won't go out for long with her body like this. You came to see her, she was naturally happy when she found out. I think so. Xuan Huaifeng grinned, like a smile. But the smile was rather ugly. After these few sentences, it seems that there is no topic. Xuan Huaifeng wanted to apologize for the conflict last night, but for some reason, he never wanted to speak. Both brothers were silent, sensing the uncomfortable atmosphere. The little girl came in, put a bowl of tea on the table beside Xuan Huaifeng, and went down without saying a word. He picked up the tea, took a sip, and inadvertently swept across Xuan Huaifeng's face. Suddenly, he saw a green mark on his left forehead. He couldn't help asking, what happened to the forehead? Did it hit? A few strands of bangs in front were swept down and covered. Xuan Huaifeng asked, what's the matter? After asking several times, Xuan Huaifeng asked with a cold face, you weren't here last night, didn't you see it? Xuan Huaifeng was surprised. Could it be that Commander Xuan? Beaten? That man chased him into the backyard for no reason last night, his eyes were fierce, and Bai Xuelan was annoyed. And he told Song Ren and others to beat him up. Of course, it was wrong for Bai Xuelan to do this, but Xuan Huaifeng didn't like Zhan Luzhao either. Showing a familiar attitude is very inconsistent with Xuan Huaifeng's personality. Unexpectedly, he actually put his anger on Xuan Huaifeng. No matter how far apart Xuan Huaifeng and him are, they are all surnamed Xuan after all. Xuan Huaifeng thought that he was his elder brother and his younger brother was beaten up, and suddenly became angry. How unreasonable is this? What does this have to do with you? What's his point? You do it? Don't work under him in the future. Where else were you injured? No. I'll take you to the doctor. He stood up and wanted to take Xuan Huaifeng to the hospital. Xuan Huaifeng slapped his hand and said, you little cat, crying, mouse and pretending to be merciful. I also said why did you send me invitations so stubbornly? It turned out to be to insult my boss in person, and you deliberately let me lose it. It's an errand, isn't it? But you made a mistake. Commander Xuan is very good to me. He never touches a single hair of my hair. These words were firm, without evasion, as if they were real. Xuan Huaifeng was even more puzzled and asked, then what's going on your forehead? Xuan Huaifeng sipped in front of him, never saying that Zhan Luzhao was not good at all, and said, when I went back last night, the matter was dealt with by Zhan Commander. Knowing that he is the most painful to Zhan Jun, knowing that Commander Zhan Jun suffered a loss in the White Mansion, and it was what I caught up. He was so angry that he had a meal. I won't come anymore, Xuan Huaifeng said. No matter whether the commander or the army commander, those who lead the troops are always screaming and killing. How can we get along? I can't see you suffer like this. You quit your job, and I will help you find it again. A conspiracy. Xuan Huaifeng said, I won't quit. Xuan Huaifeng asked, why is this? Xuan Huaifeng said, why? Everyone has their own aspirations. I heard that you have also suffered from Bai Xuelan's losses. Wire yourself. Instead of resigning as his adjutant first, you will take care of my business instead? One sentence stopped Xuan Huaifeng, stunned there. After a long while, Xuan Huaifeng said, that's right. Everyone has their own aspirations. He sighed and sat back. At this time, the little girl came in again, carrying a large square plate with several plates of salty and sweet desserts on it. These are all from Zhang Mama. When Xuan Huaifeng comes over on weekdays, Zhang Mama always stays close to each other. Now she probably hates Xuan Huaifeng and refuses to come. So she asks the little girl to send it. The little girl put the dim sum plate on the table and said to Xuan Huaifeng, Zhang Mama said, what else is missing? Please send a message. She will do it right away. Xuan Huaifeng nodded and said, tell her about these. That's enough, I don't need anything else. The little girl agreed and left. The two brothers just said that they were cold, and they became more and more boring. They ate snacks in their mouths, which were boring. For half a day, Xuan Huaifeng looked at the large pendulum clock placed at the end of the living room. When he is thinking about why his sister still hadn't come back, suddenly he heard Xuan Huaiyan say, I'll say hello to you first, that's Xiao Feiyan. I'm afraid I'll take care of you, no more. Xuan Huaifeng turned his head and asked quickly, what do you mean by that? Xuan Huaiyan said, if this happened last night, do you still expect Commander Xuan to take care of her? He really wants to continue to take care of her. It's just that Commander Xuan was very annoyed. He knew that this woman had something to do with the White Mansion, so how could he tolerate her? Listening to Commander Xuan's intention, he wanted to sell her to a kiln. Xuan Huaifeng was taken aback and said, why is this? Okay? Xuan Huaiyan sipped it irrelevant and said with a sneer, it's not a matter of the commander whether to sell or not to sell people in Commander Xuan's mansion. Xuan Huaifeng said sternly, third brother, she finally got out of the fire pit. Do you have the heart to push her in again? You can't ignore this. Xuan Huaiyan said, I have an adjutant who dares to oppose the commander. I could have asked the commander, but you treated him like this last night. Even if he has a good heart and is willing to help, I don't have the face to ask for it. You must have the ability. Bring the soldiers from the customs office to the door. Don't blame me, younger brother, for not reminding you. The soldiers of Commander Xuan are all loaded with guns and live ammunition, and if something goes wrong in the capital, don't regret it. Xuan Huaifeng was born with a warlord's support, very well aware of the style of those warlords, for a momentary preference, regardless of morality and laws, with a gun in hand. They dare to do anything. To deal with Commander Xuan, reasoning is unreasonable. The reckless approach of using knives and guns is also not advisable. However, you can't just sit back and watch. Xuan Huaifeng frowned for a while, and asked, do you know where to sell her? When will it be sold? Xuan Huaiyan said, I don't know, Commander Xuan said casually. It probably means that. Xuan Huaifeng thoughtfully said, if it's just a matter of money, I will pay no matter how much, just buy her. But don't sell it to others, let alone a brothel. You know, she is an innocent girl, please also take some responsibility. Xuan Huaifeng smiled, what's the matter with me? After a long time, it turns out that you like her. Otherwise, why bother? He glanced. Xuan Huaiyan said, well, how can I say it? You are also my brother. I can only do my best to be benevolent and righteous. He hesitated for a while and said, I am not sure about Commander Xuan's temper, but he looks at Xiao Feiyan, but he is not pleasing to the eye, so he has to deal with her, that's for sure. I thought of a way. Xuan Huaifeng asked. What way? Xuan Huaiyan said, I went to tell the commander that there is a kiln that wants to spend money to buy a few good-looking girls to attract business. So why not sell Xiao Feiyan for a good price? Although the commander doesn't care about this little money, but if he agrees, I will tell you and let you prepare the cash. When the time comes, I will bring people out, and you will give me the money. Xiao Feiyan, you just take it away quietly. Xuan Huaifeng thought about it, and it was a good idea. Nodding, okay, that's it. If there is any news, you can call me at the White Mansion. After these words, the scene was not as cold as before. The two quietly ate a few snacks, thinking that Xuan Daiyan would be back soon. Unexpectedly, at noon, Xuan Daiyan was not seen. Zhang Mama peeped into the living room in the corridor. Seeing that Xuan Huaiyan had no intention of leaving, she secretly scolded him for being cynical and ignorant. But Xuan Huaifeng was a guest and the third young master of the Xuan family, so she had nothing to do with him. To prepare lunch for the guests in the dining room, we can only have the good dishes that were carefully prepared for the Xuan Huaifeng sisters and brothers. And ask the messenger to bring them over for the two young masters to enjoy. The brothers had their own thoughts, ate lunch randomly, and waited for a long time before they heard the sound of two car horns coming from a distance through the wall. Xuan Huaifeng said, "It must be my sister who is back." He hurriedly stood up and went to the hall to meet her. Sure enough, I saw two little girls come in with their chests full of things, some of which were wrapped in foreign craft paper, some small pieces wrapped in glass covers, and another servant holding several pieces of brightly colored fabrics in both hands. Xuan Huaifeng carried a small and exquisite handbag in his hand, wore a long open robe with rhinestones, a black and gold cloud-patterned waistcoat, and had a big belly. Xuan Huaifeng laughed and scolded Xuan Huaifeng when he saw Xuan Huaifeng, "You really know how to hurry. I waited at home for many days, and I couldn't wait for your single shadow. But if I go out the door, you will come. If you want me to say it, it's accurate. I know that you are a big man now, and you don't have to look down on anyone. Today is different from the past. What brothers and sisters do you know? You don't want to see me, just ask for sex." Xuan Huaifeng dared not refute, he could only smile awkwardly, put his hands down to her scold. Seeing that she was struggling to walk up the stone steps in the entrance hall, he quickly got down and gave his hand to her. Xuan Huaifeng refused to let him help her. She turned her body aside, avoided his hand, circled lightly in midair, tapped him on his forehead, and glared at him. "Don't think that if you offer this kind of effortless hospitality, I will suffer your coax. I bought fabrics, foreign lace, spices, and a pair of small gold bracelets today for your future nephew, totaling 600 or 700 yuan. You pay the bill for me, which is a fine. Do you accept the penalty?" Xuan Huaifeng smiled bitterly and said, "I accept the punishment. But what did I do to make my sister angry?" When Xuan Huaifeng was about to speak, a figure suddenly appeared from the door and stood in front of her and called out, "Eldest sister." Xuan Huaifeng was taken aback, and when she looked closely, it turned out to be Xuan Huaifeng. She was a little surprised, looked Xuan Huaifeng up and down, and then said, "So, it's the third brother? When did you come to the capital? I've been here, and I rarely hear about you and your mother." Xuan Huaifeng sipped he and said, "I've been here for a while. My mother said that I'm too old, so I should come out and meet the world. When I arrived in the capital, I met my second brother a few times." "Didn't the second brother mention me to the eldest sister?" Xuan Huaifeng said lightly, "Your second brother is busy, so he didn't mention it to me. You can come over at any time. It's a family anyway. I'm holding you." He held out his hand. Xuan Huaifeng couldn't avoid it, so he could only help him and enter the hall together. Xuan Huaifeng brought a lot of gifts, piled them up in the living room, wrapped each color in red paper, and prepared a gift list just like the old rules. Xuan Huaifeng took a brief look and found at least a dozen valuables. She is young lady of the big family. Although she was a little surprised that he was so generous, her face was very reserved. She put down the gift list and said to Xuan Huaifeng, "What is this for? We are brothers and sisters. If you have a great prospect, you will earn money. You don't have to spend such extravagant expenses when you come to see the eldest sister. Save some money and keep it for your mother. I will take these little baby clothes, and you will bring the rest back." Xuan Huaifeng sipped, "Why do you want me to bring back the things I bought especially for my eldest sister? Isn't this trying to save my face?" Even though I was raised by the concubine, the eldest sister often said that everyone does not distinguish between descendants, they are all brothers and sisters. Since it is a relationship between sister and brother, why is the younger brother sending things to the elder sister, but the elder sister sweeps out the door? If the elder sister refuses to ask for these things, you will lose it. I have no face to take it back. If you have something to say, go straight. Facing this third brother from a concubine. Even if she doesn't like it in her heart, she refuses to lose the demeanor of the direct line on the face. Hearing what he said, Xuan Huaifeng didn't give up and said with a small smile. You spend money like this, your mother knows, doesn't she scold you? Xuan Huaifeng said, I send my mother a monthly letter. As for the money, she has money to spend and is very happy. So how can she care about my affairs? Xuan Huaifeng and Xuan Huaifeng looked at each other silently. Niang has never been a regular person. She was afraid of my father back then. But she has been honest in the Xuan family all these years. Now that my father has passed away, she has no one to care about. If she has a few more money in her hand, she will do something out of the ordinary. But as of now, no one else can care. Go as you please. Because of Xuan Huaifeng's presence, Xuan Huaifeng had many inconvenient things to complain to Xuan Huaifeng in front of him. The three sisters and brothers chatted all over the living room, asking about the current situation of each. And talking about non-painful topics. I don't think it's been over an hour. After all, Xuan Huaifeng was pregnant. After going out and staying for a while, she gradually showed tiredness. She looked at Xuan Huaifeng several times, but she couldn't open her mouth to see the guest. I was secretly wondering why Xuan Huaifeng was talking about sex so much today. It looked like he had a nail in his butt, and he couldn't get up when he sat down. At home in the past, he was not very talkative. Xuan Huaifeng saw the tired look on her face, guessed how many points, and said thoughtfully, Sister has been sitting for a long time, go in and lie down. I'm here to accompany the third brother on your behalf. Xuan Huaifeng was also feeling tired, so she nodded her head and said to Xuan Huaifeng, I really can't hold it anymore, go in and rest for a while and then come out. Anyway, you are also half the owner here, so it's appropriate to entertain me. You stay for dinner at night, after eating, I have more. I want to ask you something. The last sentence made Xuan Huaifeng's heart hang. I don't know what my sister is going to ask. If he is forced to leave Bai Xuelan again, then this question will be enough. It is better to leave early.